So once again, here's the free will thing.
Yeah.
So like you'd mentioned that like you don't know what the opposing view is. And so I don't believe in free will.
Okay.
The brain is depending on why do I formulate sentences backwards? Okay, so the brain is a machine in a way. And if you think about time in a linear fashion, things happen sequentially and they lead to the next thing. And so I feel as though everything that we decide is a result of the previous things that happened before. Okay. So it's like we are the results of our genes and our experience. So like nature versus nurture, but it's nature and nurture. And so our experience is like all of those things forward. And so it's not so much that like you don't make choices because you do. It's more like the choice that you make is the one that you were going to make. Right. And so that's not to say that like the difficult thing about it is that like everything seems so defeatist once you reach that conclusion, which is like, oh, well, it doesn't matter what I do. Right. But that's not true because like everything that you do leads to the next thing. And so if you kind of like go down a path and it'll just like keep making things worse, instead you should like reshape the environment to cause everyone to make better decisions, if that makes sense. And so why, for example, this is a stupid example that went to my brain first, but like, why is the US so overweight? Well, maybe it's because it's cheaper and faster to get fast food, and because the culture is so built around work. And so people don't have time to cook for themselves. And so they will go eat fast food. And so right now the environment is designed in such a way that doesn't allow people to cook for themselves or eat healthier.
That makes sense.
And so it's like, that's not even up to the person choosing to do McDonald's every day or something. It's just like, the system is built in such a way that encourages this sort of thing. Yeah. And it's like, you can break out of that, but you have to do a lot of things in order to break out of that in the first place. And so instead we should like manage systems in a way that encourage better behavior.
I see. Yeah.
So, I mean, kind of going back to you had grown up Catholic a little bit and then grew up in Christian stuff. I also grew up Catholic and then kind of fell out of it myself. I think that, so what you had said about like heaven and hell is like, the word for it is like universalist. And so like universalists believe that like God loves everyone so much, so like no one goes to hell.
I see.
And then but the problem that arises with that is then like, so what's the point of sin?
Exactly.
If everyone's going to go to heaven. Right. And so.
Yeah, I think I feel like I like try not to have an opinion on it. Like I try not, just because like it hurts me to think of anyone going to hell. Even though I make a joke sometimes, which is horrible, but I'm like, I'm going to hell. At least it's going to be warm. Like that's horrible. I just hate the cold, but I don't really mean that. I do not want to go to hell if there's a hell. But yeah, I think I just try not to even like talk about it or think about it, which probably isn't good. But like, just because like, I feel like we literally don't have the power, like that we weren't supposed to have the power to even like, I know we have to talk about heaven and hell if there is a heaven and hell. See, look at me even questioning it. But I feel like we don't even have the power to like think about it. I don't know why. I'm just like, I would never try to decide whose sin was like bad enough when all sin is supposed to be created equal to go to hell. And then it's always confused me too. Like if there's a hell, then like say a serial killer is on his deathbed and he asks for forgiveness from God, then people are like, okay, then he's going to heaven. So I'm like, okay. I just, see, it just it gets in a loop.
Right. And that's the circles that like universalists go into, which is like, well, if the sin doesn't matter for the serial killer that repents on their deathbed, then the sin doesn't really matter for anyone either.
Right.
And so it's like, everyone's saved.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah. But then it's just because. And so for me, I don't believe in God. I don't believe in anything. And so
do you call yourself anything, or do you not define it?
I used to use the word atheist.
Okay.
But like atheists are kind of assholes. So
you're like, I'm not claiming that.
Yeah. Well, I just don't like being like presenting myself as an atheist, and then people
just as much as I would not want to present myself as a Christian. Like,
sure.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like,
And so it's like, oh, like that. Douchebag who like is always like, oh, Christians are stupid and blah blah blah. And it's like, whenever I first fell out of religion, I kind of did that. At least in my own head. And so I've kind of been trying to break out of the like, oh, this person's like the Christian thing, and so they like believe blah 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 blah. And so I'm making all these assumptions about people. And so like I'm trying to break myself out of that. But then I don't want that to happen in the same direction to me. And so it's like, if someone is a Christian, I go like, oh, well, I'm an atheist. So like, oh, you believe all this stuff.
It goes both ways.
And so, I just like, as far as I know and what my experience has told me is that like, this is all that we have. And so we need to make this world as good as possible here. And if we like die, then that's kind of it. And that's scary, yes, but it's like, you have to do your best here because we can't know if there's something else afterwards. And so I think that's kind of a motivating thing rather than...
I think that totally is for sure a motivating thing. I'm just like, it just seems, the more I live life, the more I start thinking crazier things like, maybe this is a simulation, like, like bullshit like that. But I'm like, because I guess, see, my mind is going like this loop right now. Please. And it's like, wait, hold on. You're running into things. This doesn't make sense. And I think this is why I don't think about it that much, because my brain just can't understand, cannot compute. But I'm like, okay, so if there's a God, if we say that we believe that there's a God, well, then I don't ask him why. Like, if there was a God, but then there wasn't so I guess that doesn't make sense. If there's a God, then there's a heaven. Okay, hold on. So if there wasn't a God, if there wasn't a God, like how you believe, then like, that's the thing where I said earlier, the reason I think there's a God is because there's things in which I'm not very scientific. Like, I'm not very like mathematical. You have to be mathematical and scientific. Scientific. That's a new word. Scientific. But I feel like, see, I'm judging a book or like making a stereotype here about people who don't believe in God. I feel like those people are really smart. I don't know why. I'm just like, I feel like you're too smart. Like, I'm not too smart, but I feel like you're really smart because like, I feel like the people I've known who don't believe in God have been like, no, but that doesn't make sense. Like, I can't make that logical connection. So then therefore that it can't be real. You know what I'm saying? And then I think, see, I'm thinking of so many things that keep popping in my head, but I'm like, I don't understand how we got here if there wasn't a God. And I don't understand what the point is if there wasn't a God. You like, okay, we're on this thing that's turning in this huge, like, vast space, and there's other things that are turning around us that probably have other life. Like, I'm assuming there's got to be there's something somewhere, somewhere else. We're not the only ones out here in this whole universe. Like, so, like, what is it? Just for shits and gigs? Like, just like, oh, like, we're just here.
Yeah, well,
floating.
And that's the thing. It's like, so,
like, what?
So going with like and it's kind of all kind of a thread here for me is that, like, so thinking just through like the logic of all of it, like I just kind of, I pursued answers is all I kind of wanted. I was raised Catholic. And so it's like, with Catholicism, they have like a book line and like answer
I'm
for
rolling
every
my eyes
single
right
thing. Yeah.
Y'all can't see me, but I'm rolling my eyes.
Yeah. And so it's like, all right, well, why this? Well, why this? And I like pursued that line of logic. And so the reason it falls also into the free will conversation is because once I followed the line of logic, I had no choice but to not believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like once you kind of put the puzzle together, it's like, well, this is the answer here. And it's not like the answer. Like this is what I've gathered myself.
Yeah.
But like I can't, now that I've seen the answer to the puzzle, I can't just ignore it. And so like I have no choice.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And so if like, you know, if you get a movie spoiled for you or something and then like you watch it, like you still know that thing is coming up.
Right.
And so it's like you can still enjoy the movie, but that'll still be there in your head. And then when it comes up, you're like, oh no, the thing happened. But like you already knew that.
Right.
And so like you have no choice but to know that that's there. And so for me, it's like just the questions were enough to like derail me. And so it's like what you were saying, even with just the premises of like, if God, then God.
Yeah.
And so if God exists, yes, let's answer that question. And then you went to heaven. And it's like, well, just because God exists doesn't mean there is heaven.
Right. That's what I was going to say. And I was going to say, if God exists and there's no heaven, then is he just like a masochist? Like, I'm sorry. Like, is he just like, haha, let's watch them like doing this for nothing? You know, like that's not what it makes me think.
And you can follow that line of logic as well.
I'm like,
And so like there's all of the different ways. And I mean, we're not the first ones to have been following these trains of thought. And so like there are people who have like, all right, what if God but no heaven? All right, what if God but heaven and no hell? All right, what if God and heaven and hell? And so like you can pursue every single one of those, and people have probably talked about, and there's books about every single one probably. I haven't read them, but
But I mean, at the end of the day, all we have is literally right now. That's all we know that is for sure is literally this moment that we are like right here. Like, you know? Well, unless,
So there's like the other philosophers. I'm a philosophy hobbyist because I don't like remember names and dates of things like real philosophers do. I just like remember the ideas.
Right. Okay.
And so there's people that are like theorizing, that we're theorizing like, well, we could hypothetically just be like a brain in a vat. And so it's like all that we experience is just happening to our brain, but like our sensory experience is just simulated and just beamed into our head.
Yeah.
And so, but if you arrive at that conclusion, it's like, well, it doesn't really matter because you wouldn't know otherwise. And so like it wouldn't.
Why is it like the conclusions that we always get to, it ends up, well, then it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like we're just searching for a reason for it to matter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, you know, if I'm gonna die and go nowhere, then nothing I do matters unless you're thinking the only reason it matters is because of the people who are going to come after me. And I need to make sure that this place that we live on is sustainable and still here for them. Unless you're thinking, I guess, in the future.
Yeah. Well,
them coming after you. I don't know.
You could be an asshole and you just be like, all right, this is the only part that matters. So I'm just going to like hoard all this wealth.
Yeah.
Which I guess like
some people do
people
that.
Obviously do that.
That is a real thing.
Yeah. But there's also like, I don't know, because I don't believe in an afterlife, I don't believe in free will, I don't believe in God, then I have to make things matter for myself. I create my own meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I don't know, so I guess music.
Yeah. Yeah. What about, I forgot your wife's name. What is her name?
Sable.
What is she believe the same as you, or are her beliefs different?
Her beliefs are different. And I don't make it my responsibility to force my beliefs onto her.
Oh yeah, totally. I just was wondering because I think that's super interesting to think about in relationships. Like even someone like a Christian marrying someone who's not a Christian or something, and then like that just interests me. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean it's like we've talked about it, and like it is a thing. I mean, you just learned that we've been together for a very long time, and so it's like it's something that we've gone through over time, and it's like we started dating whenever like I was a Christian and she was like barely, and then I like made her more Catholic.
You shall be Catholic now.
And so but then as she was becoming Catholic, I was asking too many questions, and I like
You were like, no,
fell away from it, and then like she became Catholic and I was like on my way out. And so it's like
So is she Catholic now?
No.
Oh, okay. And now we're neither are Catholic.
Right. Yeah. Which, I mean, sure. But it's like we influence each other's path. And I feel bad about kind of enforcing that upon her life.
Yeah. Right.
And so it's like now I'm like trying to like not. Because I kind of made that mistake already. Yeah. And I'm like, I feel like by forcing this, I've like put an unnecessary amount of suffering in both her and my life. So instead, it's like if she wants to talk about it or she wants to know what I think or whatever it is, like I'm not going to make it my goal to like make her the same brain as I am. That's not.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
And so like if your goal in a relationship is to be the same person, then you should reevaluate what you want out of a relationship.
You know, just date yourself because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And so that's, I don't know, and there's stuff that you learn over time for like super long relationships, but like every person is different. And here's unwarranted relationship advice, but like the first thing, or I guess one of the first things whenever we like realized this was like a real committed thing is talking about your non-negotiables. And so it's like I am going to do music. Yeah. And if that sucks or if like it ends up to where like I'm broke and poor or whatever, like I'm sorry, that's just we're gonna have to deal with together because that is not going to change. And if you're cool with that, then cool, let's continue this. But if not, then maybe we should not be together forever. And that's so like obviously we're married, and so like we're cool with that. So but like that's the sort of thing that like at least at this point in time where you are and what you want out of life. And so it's like if you have this idea that like this is what you're going to do with your life, then like the person that you want to be with you needs to be okay with that.
Yeah. Absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. For sure. Sorry for the unwarranted relationship advice.
No, I'm down to talk about it whenever. No worries at all. I was thinking, your water's all the way over here. Do you dream often?
Yes, but it's kind of that fleeting thing where it's like, as you try to remember it, you start forgetting it. And so it's you know, I remember more of the traumatizing dreams because those are the ones that like wake me up and I have to say something.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. I was just asking because my dreams are really, really vivid and like just odd. And it's gotten to the point where I'm like, do we go somewhere else? Like, are we actually like going to a different like reality when we're dreaming? Like, I know we're just like in our bed, but sometimes I'm like, I swear I'm not here anymore. You know,
what do you think?
I don't know. Like, I really don't know. I just like, I dream pretty much every night, and I was really stressed out last week. So I was having like nightmares, like I was having dreams where I was like in a game, almost like the Hunger Games, but I was like in a mall, and I was like being chased by this like weird animal character throwing like these bombs at me. And then I was with my friends, and I was on level 14, and there was 20 levels, but I only had 3 lives. And then this guy came and was like shooting me, and I lost 2 lives, and then I shot him, and then someone like sprayed this toxic gas, and I was like running, like trying, and I finally like got outside, and I like took a breath, and then I woke up. But then even last night I was having dreams about being in my house, but it was like I was in my past. Like my sister was little, and we had this dog that we grew up with that wasn't like alive anymore, and I kept trying to like wake up. That's the thing too, is I like have lucid dreams, or I have inception dreams where I wake up into another dream. And so then you're just like, okay, at this point, like, when am I ever awake? Like, I could always be dreaming, you know? Dreams are just weird. Like, I would love to have somebody who knows how to analyze dreams, just like analyze the heck out of mine, because they're just bizarre. Like, so weird.
I have my own reasoning or like for parsing that out. But like, I think that the brain is a complicated thing, and when you fall asleep, it's sort of your mind like grabbing all of the things and all of the experiences that you're like worried about, or like what's, you know, present in your subconscious, and just kind of is this like weird like stew of things that it's throwing at you, and it sort of generates an experience because like the human brain just likes to do that. And so like we anthropomorphize things, we add narratives of things, and so it's like that's why things like that happen. It's like I was here, but it was also like not here because it was somewhere else. And then like but
and you were you, except for you looked like this person.
Yes. And like, it's like, what? But my dad was there, but like, I didn't see him, but I knew he was there. Yeah. Like, and that's just like, I mean, those are real experiences that we have when we're awake, or whatever we currently define as awake.
Yeah.
And so the I don't know, simulation, if you will, that happens during dream state, it's very real feeling because our brain knows what real feeling is like.
Right.
And
that's
so
true. Yeah.
The things that we experience in real life get sort of told in our brain in the subconscious. And so like sometimes it could have meaning. It could be that like, oh, I've been stressed about this thing, and that's like a way of me telling me that like you've been stressed about this thing, or it's sometimes just nonsense.
Yeah. No, I definitely think it really is like our brains trying to process things, but like, I don't know. I kind of like to think that it could be something deeper because it just sounds like more exciting that way. And I just like, I think my thing is like, I go back to the same places. Like, I have a lot of dreams in malls. I don't even go to malls that often, but I'm in malls, or I'm in airports, or I'm in restrooms, which I do spend a lot of time of my life going to the restroom because my bladder is so small. So, but it's always like if I'm in the restroom is like disgusting and there's no doors and like it's like a horrible experience. And so like these could all be like anxieties that I have, but it's just funny to me that I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like I'm like going somewhere like that I'm going back to that's familiar that I can like consciously recall like the place, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, it's interesting.
You can arrive at conclusions anyways, regardless of if it's like, if it really matters. Yeah. And so it's like, oh, this is like, you know, I kept having this dream and like my sister was there, and it's like, I should talk to my sister. Like if you wake up and that's the conclusion that you arrive at, that's like a bad thing to come out of it. Regardless of if it really was your brain trying to tell you anything at all. But if you end up calling your sister or something because of that, then like, cool.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Or like, you know, it could also allow you to make different decisions. And this is kind of where you do have to like be careful with it, because it's like sometimes it is like, oh, I had a dream where I was like a monk in the Himalayas. So I'm going to like sell all of my earthly possessions and become a monk in the Himalayas.
Yeah.
And it's like, just because you had a weird dream because you watched a Kung Fu movie doesn't mean that you like should go be a monk.
Yeah. Or at a not as severe case of that being like, oh, I dreamt about my ex, so I'm going to text them and let them know. No, they don't need to know. You don't need to tell them. But, you know, my brain's like, but what if they got diagnosed with cancer and they haven't told you? You might want to just check in, you know, like worst case scenario, like, I don't know. But yeah, no, dreams are something else. They're very, very interesting. I've been having some crazy ones where I just like, wake up, I'm like, I don't think I've even been resting. I'm like, I've just been like running in my dreams. Like, I need to record myself because I wonder if I say things like, surely I'm saying something because I wake up so tired.
Do you have a dream journal?
I don't have a dream journal, but usually like the ones I've been having lately, I'll wake up and I'll either like voice record to my friend or something, or like type it out really quick so I don't forget it. But I was just having so many weird ones, and they just the Inception ones and the lucid ones are the always I wish I could like chill lucid dream. I can't. I like figure out I'm dreaming and I'm like, oh my God, wake up. And I just like lose my shit. I'm just like, oh, I got to wake up. And I start thinking, I think that I know where I am in real life. Like I'm normally wrong. But in my dream state, I'm like, oh, I'm in this room at this house. I need to contact someone in real life to go wake me up from this room because I don't want to dream anymore. Like I'm trying to contact real life me. And I'm like, what in the heck? Like, it just gets really trippy. And this is why I don't do drugs, because I think that my brain is already creative enough. I terrify myself sober. So I'm like, I'm good.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't actually do drugs or drink either. And so, well, I don't know if you drink, but I feel like I just use music for that. Like, I don't know, if instead of like, oh, I had a bad day, I'm going to like have a few drinks or something.
Yeah.
For me, it's like, I had a bad day, I'm just going to like pick up my guitar and just like scream.
Yeah. That's totally, I think that's much more healthy. So
not for my voice.
Not for your voice, but maybe long-term for your whole body.
Right. Yeah. No. And I mean, I hope are healthy coping methods. So, I mean, it's like, people have told me in the past that I'm like mentally healthy.
That's good.
And so I was like, cool. I've got that one down.
We'll try to keep that way.
Yeah. Let's see if the stress deals with anything else. But I mean, everyone's stressed nowadays. So
yeah, I know. So for work, what do you have like another job besides music, or do you just do music, or like not just do, but you know what I'm saying?
No, like I work for Bear Pools. Like,
oh, you do. You told me that. You told me that. Okay, yeah.
So I mean, it's like that's what makes money, and like every musician has like a thing that it's like this is the thing that
you
will
have to
pay for things until I can just do music.
Yep. I've been like trying to like run away from the like big girl job thing. I don't want it, but my dad's like, nope, you need to do that, and I'm like. What though? That's the thing that frustrates me is I'm like, everyone's always like, go get a job. And I'm like, can you tell me where anyone told us how we were going to do that?
Yeah.
In school? Where did they ever say like, okay, here's the rundown. You get online, you put these filters in, whatever. I still don't know. I mean, like, I could try harder. That's the true statement. I could try harder. But like, I like got on LinkedIn the other day and was like looking at jobs, and it would be like
looking for jobs fucking sucks.
It'd be like manager of Target. Like, and I'm like, okay, like that might be what someone wants. That's wonderful, but that's not what I don't know what I'm looking for. That's what makes it even harder because I'm like, I'm a creative. Okay. I have pink hair, tattoos, a nose ring, and I'm not going to have a job that's going to tell me I can't.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard when you get corporate because they want you to be a cookie cutter. They're like, you know, normal hair, no nose ring, cover your tattoos. And I'm like, I hope that they grow out of that because I think we're getting hopefully towards that. People are being more accepting of people's like own outwardly expression of themselves. But in a lot of places, it's not acceptable. And I mean, my dad, even today, this morning, I dyed my hair last night and he looked, he's like, oh, your hair got more pink. And I was like, yep, just went to bed. I don't know how it happened. And he's like, great. He hates it, but.
Well, so I mean, so here's kind of the reasoning for like how do we reduce the division? I think that, again, I'm formulating sentences backwards, but I'm getting somewhere. But like, how do we reduce the division is like putting yourself in the shoes of the people that you like don't like. And so it used to be that like whenever someone had like weird, crazy hair or tattoos or something, it meant that they were like an actual criminal. Right. Nowadays it's like expanded out to be, it's just like people who are creative.
Right.
And so, but like, that's the thing is that's also kind of flipped, because the reason why people wouldn't get tattoos or like have crazy hair is because the social pressure of like what that meant to other people was keeping them from doing that. Right. And so now there's less social pressure, and now more people are okay with like coloring their hair and getting tattoos. And so now it's going to be flipping to the other side, to where it's like the corporate people have to realize that they're missing out on very good people by excluding people that are fun.
Yeah. And I mean, I went to college and I got the piece of paper that said I did the thing. So, you know,
I
I'm
have 3 of them.
Oh, see, you got lots of those papers. That was like pulling teeth to get me to finish that. And I still don't know how I did it. And like, I'm glad that I have the piece of paper, I guess. But like, has the piece of paper done anything for me? No. So, you know, I should apparently be able to get good jobs because of the piece of paper. But, I guess you got to like apply for them or something. So, but eventually I think I don't like structure. Like I am like, let me do my thing. Like, I don't want to be on a schedule. I don't want to stay up till 4 a.m. and sleep till 2 p.m. if I want to. But I do think that with structure and like having a little bit more of a schedule, I would be a lot happier, just because I would have a path. Not just be like, well, I got nothing to do today. Like, you know, so I think getting a job would be beneficial. Like, but the thought of like sitting in a cubicle from 9 to 5 does not do anything for me. So hoping that there's something that's perfect, you know, something.
Well, so there's I don't know, like I grew up a poor immigrant. So like the whole like get a job, you bum, was way more pressing, because it's like, we're not going to support you. We can't.
Right. Yeah.
And so like I've done a whole bunch of weird jobs.
Yeah.
And so like I did inventory, and then I worked at Sprouts, and then I did escape rooms for a little bit, and then I worked at H&M, and then and so it's like all those different things. And then like now I'm working in pools, and it's like, even after getting 3 pieces of paper, I still like, I'm working in pools.
Right.
But that's because, kind of going back to a previous idea, like it's not my fault that COVID happened. Yeah. And it's not my fault that like the jobs that I had that were related to my pieces of paper like went away because of it. And so like I worked for ACM producing their master classes, like and turning them into podcasts. But then like UCO had a budget freeze, and so like my contract with them ended and they couldn't renew it because COVID. And so it's like, okay, looks like one of my best friends from high school like is needing help. And so like, cool, I do pools, but I have a fucking master's degree in music composition.
It's really weird times. It's really weird. And you know, that's something too that I like always try to be like conscious about, is that like I definitely like am fortunate to have like being able to live at my dad's, you know, and like have that for sure. And I don't take that for granted. Do I think that the life just as like you didn't choose a life that you were brought into, like just how I didn't choose mine, do I feel like maybe if I was less fortunate or like pushed harder, that I would probably have like a job right now? I probably wouldn't still be living at my dad's house, you know? So like it's definitely when you have things like that like given to you, you definitely don't feel like you have to try as hard. And like, I see the benefits and also how it holds me back, you know? Like my dad growing up, like he like had to buy his own first car, and like he was working when he was really young, and like he always was working from a young age. And like, but I think that because he did that, maybe it made him want us to not have to do that.
Exactly.
You know? So then he like overcompensated. And then it made a whole different, so it's like maybe it's going to be this pattern like of, I don't know,
right,
you know?
And that always happens with generations. There's like the wave of like overbearing parents versus like super relaxed parents and overbearing parents, and so it's like the parents that were like, oh, I work super hard, so like my kids don't have to. It's like, oh dang it, I got lazy kids now. It's just a whole thing. And I'm not saying you're lazy. But. Oh, no. There's definitely parts of me that are definitely lazy. It's okay. I can claim that. But I did have like a big girl job for a second it was almost a year ago. Yeah. March. I don't remember anymore. I don't remember how long ago it was, but I was a receptionist at a dental, like a dentist. Yeah, and those pop up all the time.
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
I was recently looking through a lot of job postings, and so like I see a lot of those.
And so I was doing that, and not the dream job. I mean, I was like doing like insurance, like talking to insurance and like getting their benefits and like all that jibber jabber, and it ended up being like a really toxic environment for me. Like I don't think I had pink hair then. I can't remember. I don't think I was I can't remember. No, I didn't have pink hair. And it was just like my coworkers, it was like all women. No offense to women. Some women are great, but like it was very catty and like I did not fit in. And I'm not an anxious person, but when I was there, I had like a ton of anxiety, and it was 12-hour shifts 3 days a week, which is nice because you get 4 days off, but you're spending 12 hours a day with people, you know? And I like wasn't eating very well, and like I lasted about 3 months, and I was like, I gotta go. Like this is not worth it to me. Like, would I have been making bank by the time now if I would have stayed with it? Yeah, I probably would have had my own place. Like it would be a totally different story, but at what cost? Like that's my thing is like I do need to find somewhere to work, but I also don't want to like completely like tank my mental health in the process and not, you know, I think that there's something out there that hopefully I can like be happy doing, you know, like,
but like that is the investments that we make as like grown ass adults is that like, all right, well, how much of my time do I want to spend doing some sort of labor so that I can spend whatever remnants of free time doing what I love? But then it's like the very American ethic is like work so hard that like you get home and just die. Like, and so like we're working ourselves to death because of this culture.
Right.
But it's like the threshold of like how much work you do versus how much money you get back has gotten like way smaller.
Yeah.
And so it's like, yeah, people do have to work like a full 40-hour work week and like work themselves to death because productivity is expected to be this much.
Yeah.
And then it's like, all right, now that I get home, like I have time to cook something, and it's not enough time that like I get to like do the thing that I want to, because that needs a little bit more time. And so like I'll just like watch TV and go to bed.
Yeah.
And so it's like that's the cycle that like everyone is in right now, and everyone has been in for a long time.
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, sometimes to break yourself out of that, you do have to take risks, and like, so yeah, sometimes you do have to like, you know, I want to quit my job and just like do the thing that I want to, but then there's the other side of that. It's like, I have no money to support the thing that I want to. So,
and that's something I really hope one day I can support myself with my like creativity and like photography and music, like for myself, but even more so, I think to like slightly prove a point to my dad, because like he doesn't think that will ever happen. But like, I recently found out, like, I think it was last week, that my dog has heartworms. Great mother I am. I didn't realize that dogs get heartworms from mosquito bites. So like a mosquito will bite an infected dog and then bite another dog and give them heartworms. So I like thought like any other parasite, my dog had to be exposed to a dog with heartworms. So I wasn't like preventing it. says she got heartworms. She's 80 pounds. So it's going to be like $1,300 to treat her. So I was like, great. So that stressed me out a lot. And I like put a little call out on Instagram, like offering discounted 30-minute photography sessions. And in the past, when I've done like mini sessions, honestly, not that many people have booked them. I don't really know why, but this has been completely different. I don't know if it's just because there's like a cause and people are like, oh, I'm helping the dog or like what. But yeah, I have like, I mean, probably like 10 shoots booked. Probably like maybe more than that. And it's all in 1 week. So it's going to be like hell. But I'm like, if I could find a way to like keep that up, you know, and like consistently do that. But it's just with creativity and like endeavors like that, it's so up and down. Like all at once or nothing, you know, and it's just, it's hard.
That's the creative business. And
it is.
But I mean, that's the, like, at least with photography, like people can look at your Instagram profile and be like, oh, this is the kind of stuff that she does. I know what I'm getting into. And so I was actually having this conversation with a friend yesterday, but it's like, sometimes you have to like build it first. And so it's like, here's the thing. It exists. You can look at it. And this is what tells you that I'm capable of this. And so like, I can look at your Instagram and be like, wow, she's a really good photographer. And so like, I would book that shoot. And so, I mean, like people can see that, but maybe let's say like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe you didn't have as much out there. And so it's like, hey, I'm doing shoots. And they're like crickets.
Yeah. It's a lot. Building the clientele and like photography is really like, it's really competitive too. I mean, like a lot of people are photographers or claim to be photographers. And it's just like, you know, it is a competitive thing. And even here though, the market isn't as saturated here as other places. But, and another thing, if you want to be a photographer in Oklahoma and you wanted to just be a photographer and nothing else, it's very hard to not do weddings. Like weddings is what the big photographers that do photography, that's booking like 2 weddings a month or something. I mean, my like lowest rate for a wedding is $1,200. So like if I booked 2 $1,200 weddings a month, like that would be really great for me, you know, but like I just don't advertise that. I'm just like, it's just how it goes back to the whole thing of like how much stress, how much mental stress do I want to put myself through for this thing. And sometimes you have to, but sometimes you just choose not to. So
And then the other part is like time. So like one thing for me, it's like, it's always time and money. And so it's like, do I want to like pay someone to manage my social media? Not really. I don't know if like I trust anyone that like, or if I know anyone that I would trust well enough to do that. And so like, I'm just going to do it myself. And that takes a lot of time.
It does.
So like, I've been doing it myself. And it's like every once in a while, like the other day I was like, oh crap, I need to like schedule a post. And so I was like, put the thing up. Like, cool. But it's like, you know, I'm a musician and I'm marketing an album and I like, all right, cool. I like put out the album and then I like did all the work to like, I did like 13 podcasts because it's like for each track. And then I did like, you know, all this stuff. And then it still feels like once it comes out, it's like, all right, well,
okay,
here you go, world. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And so like, that's exhausting too. But it's like, it was a lot of time and like no money.
I know.
And so it didn't cost me anything to do that.
But still, would it be cool if it made me something? Yeah, like for sure. Yeah, I get that. It's a lot of work. Like we were saying earlier, it's like you're not just putting out a song or an album, or it's like you have to advertise it if you want it to do anything, you know? And I had a friend that was helping me with that, like doing campaigns on like Instagram or Facebook and trying to figure all that out. And I've learned a little bit, but there's still so much more I could learn about marketing and like really digging deep into that and figuring out how to target the people I want. And like, I think Spotify helps a lot for that too, though. Like being able to look at like where your listeners are located, what ages they are, what genders they are, and actually taking that and then translating it into a marketing strategy on Instagram and Facebook where you're targeting those same places where you already know people know of you, you know?
Yeah.
So being aware of that is helpful, but it's still, would it be nice to just have someone who knows what they're doing it? Yeah, that'd be cool.
But that costs money.
But here we go back to the money. Yeah, I know.
But it also like you have good music, and so it's like that's the difference though too, is that like you can spend as much money as you want into advertising or whatever, but it's like at the end of the day, if it's not good, like a lot of people will see it and think that it's not good.
Right.
So it's like
true. It's
So I mean, for me, it's like I made an ambient album. I knew going in that like people
Selective
don't listen
people
to ambient music. And so it's like, this is just music that I happen to make, and it is an ambient album. And so it's like, well, I have it. I might as well put it out. And so it's like, here you go, world. But it's like, nobody markets ambient albums. And
right.
Like,
that makes sense.
And so, yeah, like my numbers aren't as high as I want them to be. But like I'm a little more over it now. Yeah. Because it's like I've kind of accepted that like, yeah, that's just what it is. But then also like maybe I shouldn't base my worth over the numbers on.
See, that's a whole other thing too. I know. I feel like a lot of us do that and feel that way, and it's hard not to. Like I was talking to my friend the other day about how Instagram was talking about taking away likes. And I was like, I don't want them to. Because in my mind, I'm like, okay, so people can still comment, right? People most of the time don't comment. Yeah. So if I post something, will I still be able to, okay, so can I still see the insights? I guess yes. But likes are what's telling me that I'm reaching people in my mind. I'm like, if you like it, you just engaged with me. I know I'm not just like yelling into the void. Like, you know, like you're seeing this, an interaction. So I don't want them to go away. But it's hard because I've definitely been that person to post a picture and then I'm like, I got no likes in 5 minutes. Like, take it off, you know? Like, and it's like, that's stupid. That's so dumb. But like, somehow we got here where we're like waiting for people to validate us for the things that we make. When at the end of the day, if you like them and you're proud of them, then why can't it be enough? Just be like, this is the thing I did, and I'm just gonna put it out here. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'm proud of it. You know?
Right. But it's taking me time to get to that point. Yeah. And like I feel like I'm there now. Like I've kind of given up on telling people about the album. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be at the end of like the podcast outro here. So if you listen all the way to the end of the podcast, you're gonna hear about it. But like I'm like tired of doing the social media thing, because like everyone talks about like the hustle, and I'm like, I only have so much hustle in me before it's like, I don't know, like I'm married, we're like renting a house, I have like a small group of friends, I'm an ambivert. Like you talked a lot about being an extrovert, and so it's like I'm mostly introverted, but since I'm a musician, I actually really enjoy performing. Yeah. Since I did a lot of music during like middle school and high school and stuff, like I kind of lost that stage fright. And so I'm not nervous on stage, and I am nervous in like large groups of people. Yeah.
See, we're opposite. I'm nervous on stage, but not in the large groups of people. Yeah. It's funny. I'm like, because I'm an extrovert, I feel like I shouldn't have stage fright, but it's different though. It's like,
it is.
It's me like literally letting you read my diary, but I'm singing it to you.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm hoping that the notes I hit are nice and you're not like wincing, you know? Like, it's like.
But that's like one reason I started the podcast, is because like I don't do small talk.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
it's okay.
Yeah. And so it's like, so am I just going to like talk to people about the weather for the rest of my life? Because it's like the best conversations that I have with people are like this, where we like start talking about deep stuff and we get into like the real shit that we really want to talk about. And so it's like, well, yeah, this is like this one-on-one thing, or even just like, you know, 3 people is ideal for me, because it's like, oh, great, we can talk about the real stuff without dealing with like the social awkwardness for me. And so like
for sure,
for me, like this is great.
It works wonderful. Yeah.
And so kind of going back is that like I'm like scared to put myself out there because I am so like introverted with like larger groups of people. Yeah. And so like, and it's part of the like humility turns into self-loathing. And so it's like, I'm humble. Like I know that I'm not like the greatest or whatever, which kind of turns into just like, everything I make is garbage. Why are you doing this? But you know, it fluctuates and it's like, this is a really good track and this is a really good song. And I feel like people should really like look at this. But then once they get to like, hey, you look at my stuff. You have so many things in your day that you could be doing, but instead you should listen to me. And I don't have the confidence to do that yet.
Yeah. I understand. That makes sense. That makes complete sense.
But it's like, what if they want to anyways?
Yeah. Yeah. All you got to do is try. Maybe they're down, you know? I have my, like on my Tinder, my dating app bios and stuff. I have like that I'm a musician, heartspace. And then I like link one of my songs on there. Yeah. And there's been guys that will literally like, and they get replies because I'm like, of course I'm gonna reply to you. Like, you're talking to me about my music. Like, that's cool. Like, they'll literally listen to it and be like one dude was like, in Candles at 2:30, was that a match striking? And I was like, yes. Like, if they like engage and they actually listen, and I'm like, okay, like cool. Like obviously, like even if it's not like a romantic thing or I'm not attracted to you, it doesn't have to be like that. And I just kind of like, if I have to tell you that eventually I will, but like, I mean, I hope that you just know we're just pals chatting, you know, even though I get that it's a dating app, but like, why can't we just like chat and be pen pals?
Enjoy other humans.
Yeah. Like, why is that so weird? You know? I was gonna ask you, what is your zodiac sign?
Libra.
Libra. My best friend is a Libra. This is a good one. Have you ever taken, here's me with my questions.
Sure. Yeah, please.
Have you ever taken a personality test? Like the Myers-Briggs?
Yeah, I did do the Myers-Briggs. I did do the Enneagram as well, but I don't remember what my result was because I didn't care for the way that it classified
Enneagram
them,
Enneagram is one of the ones I think that you have to actually research even after you take the test, because I got high scores on like 3 different numbers and I can identify with all 3 of them, like different parts.
Yeah, I think that
so I'd really have to like dive into it and like dissect myself more. Yeah. But what's your Myers-Briggs? Or do you remember?
The like 2 or 3 times that I've done it, I've gotten ENFP.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So like because again, I like fluctuate.
But you're an ambivert, so you're extroverted, introverted. You're probably barely more extroverted.
Yes,
I would assume.
I'm also barely feeling. Okay. So like I'm just on the line over feeling. Okay. Because I could have been ENTP. I also could have been INTP or INFP.
Right. But it consistently gives you ENFP though? Mm-hmm. That's what I am.
Yeah, okay. Well, that makes sense.
I find a lot of ENFPs. Like, we're like magnets or something. Like, I'll be talking to someone and usually I can tell. I wouldn't have guessed you to be an ENFP because of like introversion. I would have felt like you'd be introvert. But like, I feel like I would have guessed you to be like INFJ or something. But I don't know why. But like, I could be talking to somebody sometimes and be like, what's your personality type? And they'll be like ENFP, and I'm like, I know. Like, same.
Yeah. Well, no, I think that the F comes from like, I'm a musician. And so it's like
that makes sense.
I don't know. I'm sure there are musicians that are also like thinking more, but like the music that I resonate with and the music that I like making is more feel based. As you do as well. Right. And so the extroversion also comes with the music part. And so like I really enjoy like performing. I really enjoy I actually don't get to act much, but
you did before.
I do enjoy acting. And so it's like I do have like a performer in me that I always like putting into things if I can.
Yeah.
But like the other part is that like I'm not broadly social. So that's why conversations like this are more my jam.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But-
hey, I'm always down for that too. I'm the person that's at a bar meeting a new person in a group of people that's like trying to talk about the nitty gritty. Like,
Yeah.
so your parents still together or they get divorced? And like, you know, and they're like, we're here in the middle of this bar and I can barely hear you. And I'm like, but I want to right now.
Yeah.
Let's do it right now.
Right, yeah. It's like, that's okay. We'll just talk louder.
Yeah, it's fine. Just scream about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
But I mean, and that's why like I don't like bars as well.
Yeah.
One, I don't drink.
Yeah.
But, and then also like, have you gotten the like COVID trauma, which is like, do you like watch a TV show and like there's just groups of people
God,
and you're like, what are you doing?
Yes, all the
Yeah.
time. I'm like, oh my God, they're so close. Stop. Oh, they just shared a drink. Stop. Oh my gosh, they're sharing food.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is not real, right? This didn't exist.
Yeah. Also, like, it
Yeah.
took place a long time ago. It's fine. They're fine.
Yeah, no, I do. I think that's a thing too. Like going out is, I've gone out to like patios and at first it was like super stressful. And now I think I just like, as horrible as it sounds, started to like ignore it and just be like, okay, just this is happening. And if I get coronavirus, this is what's going to happen to me. Like I made this decision for myself. Here we are. So
yeah, I've been more scared. Like I've been seeing people like start to do shows and stuff, and like people that I know are like booking stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but
yeah, my producer's been booking a lot of things in like weddings and stuff. And I'm around him, so I'm like, dear God,
Yeah.
like you're gonna get coronavirus and you're gonna give it right to me.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's like my primary instrument is my voice.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, if I like spend 2 weeks coughing, like, you know, whenever, I'm sure you feel this too, but like, you know, when you lose your voice and it's like, I'm never going to sing again.
Yeah. You do not want that to happen.
Yeah.
No.
Like that happens every time that it's like you wake up one day, it's like,
yeah.
it's like, well, all right, it's done for. I better start planning a different career path because like
My
I'm
instrument
done singing.
is done.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because like, I don't know, I could probably get better at guitar. I could probably get better at piano.
Yeah,
but
same.
like I'm best at singing. So I'm just gonna keep doing that.
Yeah.
And so like COVID has scared me because of that. And so it's like, I'm just going to stay away as much as I can just because I don't want to, for whatever reason, like cough up a lung. Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It does not sound fun. I've known people who've had it. I'm like, so far so good that I know of. I could have had it and just not known, but you know, so far so good.
The experts, quote unquote, say that like if you spend a lot of time outside, like vitamin D is really like good for fighting it. And so like my day job, I work outside on pools.
Like, I'm
and
good.
So it's like, yeah, like my like tan lines are ridiculous.
Yeah, they really are.
So it's like, I think I'm good, but also I still don't want it.
No, want to avoid it for sure. Sure.
But I don't know. I've also been very bad at just like promoting myself in general. So it's like, oh, even if I do want to book gigs, it's like I don't even know how to. So
well, especially now, it's just it's weird for everyone right now. So
yeah,
hopefully one day we'll get back to the normal, at least some new normal.
Yeah,
that's better than this. That's what we can hope for.
Yeah. What's your zodiac sign?
Sagittarius. I'm a fire sign. Yeah.
See, I don't actually know anything about it.
They're like, they're centaurs. They're like, I don't know if this is what centaur means, but they're the like half horse, half man thing that shoots like, they shoot arrows. Yeah. This is my necklace is like a heart with an arrow through it. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, we're just like really free spirited. Like, I mean, that's how I would describe myself. Like, we're really loyal, but we don't really settle down with people unless we find the right one. And then once we do, like, we're in it. But it's definitely hard to get me to like settle down, like with like date somebody. I'm like, oh, you're taking away my freedom. Like, but
so this is kind of a funny thing. So it's like in the same way that earlier I mentioned, like, oh, Christianity, here's like my prejudices. I'm also trying to fight that with like zodiac because I don't care, and I'm usually just like, it sounds like bullshit.
Either people you ask them their zodiac sign and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm this, my rising is this, my moon is this, my blah, 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 and they like tell you their whole birth chart, or they're like, no, it's bullshit. So like you gotta, I have to be careful when I ask people. I'm like, either they're gonna love this question or they're gonna hate this question.
This is a funny thing because like, since I don't care about zodiac signs, but I will say this, it seems to me like most Libras don't care about zodiac signs, which is kind of like a self-fulfilling thing that it's like meh. I don't care.
You are what you don't care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. My other friend, I think I do know a few Libras, but I don't remember if they cared or not. My friend Beck, I don't think she really, I don't think she dislikes it, but she's an artist. She paints. So I'm like, it's creative people, the Libras. But no, I just think it's interesting. Like, I don't like base my whole identity off of being a Sagittarius, though I do like think that I am a very much like one, at least how they're described.
Sure.
But there's a lot more that goes into it too. Just like, I don't know, like talking about your birth chart and then like, goes like into what time you were born, the place you were born, and like where the planets and the stars were when the second you came into the earth, you know? So, I mean, whatever. It's just interesting to talk to other people about their signs and like how you may or may not be compatible and to see if that really has any like truth to it at all. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. So
but it's just fun. And so it's like the thing that I have to do is just let people enjoy things.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, like what are Libras like then? What's the usual?
I think I know more about like specific signs that I'm like, I feel like either I've been interested in romantically or because then I'm like, like really diving into the compatibility at that point. I'm like, okay, Sagittarius and so. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, all I know is just based off of my like one Libra friend. So I that's not a very good representation.
That's fine.
There's a lot more I can learn about it. Like I'm not at the level where I can be like, oh, like completely size you up because you told me your sign. Now, if you were like also another Sagittarius, I'd probably be like, have some assumptions about you. Or if you were like a Capricorn, I would be like, oh, Capricorn. But but you know.
See, that's the thing. It's like you can just say, because it's the same thing. It's like if you go, oh, like I'm an ENFP, and other people would be like, oh, but it's like it's just a bunch of letters. Like
it's really just another reason for someone to put you like
in boxes.
In a box. As a lot of people who don't like it, I know that's how they feel about it. They're like, oh, just put me in a box. But see, for me though, it's not that way because I'm not like, I might jokingly be like, oh, you're a Capricorn because my ex is a Capricorn, you know, but like, I'm not going to stop there. I'm not going to be like, oh, Capricorn, gotta go. Like, then I'm going to ask you like about your whole life, you know, like it's just like what I start out with, but then we're going to go way deeper after that, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, and there's also like the failure again of like, oh, you're a Libra, so you don't care about horoscopes, which is why like it makes sense here. And it's like the same thing. It's like, oh, well, like you're just trying to put me in a box. It's like, oh yeah, there's a box for people who don't like being put in boxes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty funny actually. Yeah.
But like, I don't know what I think that, because I had this conversation with Derek Brown actually. He plays keys in the Flaming Lips.
Oh, cool.
He was into like personality tests and stuff, and he was like, yeah, like my wife is this thing, and like I like had her take it, and I was like, I knew it, and then like my kids, and then like, I knew it, and so it's like there's something to it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, there is. I mean, there's a lot that goes into making someone who they are. So I don't think you can just like pinpoint one thing and be like, that's sums you up.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely not like that. But I think that there are similarities in people. Like Unfortunately, maybe there are boxes that people can fall into. Not that they are just that box.
Yeah.
But they have things in common with other people in that box.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they have things in common with a different box too. But like, it's just, I don't know. I think it just is exciting, and it's like a good place to start when you're getting to know somebody instead of like asking, my favorite question, I don't know how I've never asked this whole time, which I know your answer because you're married, but I ask people if they've ever been in love. That's like the first question I ask people, just because, I don't know, it's like a deep question that people, they don't expect you to just be like, hey, like, my name's Madeline. Also, have you ever been in love? They're like, what? And I feel like you can know a lot about a person knowing if they've experienced love or not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's a funny thing because, like, obviously I'm married, but I don't believe in soulmates.
Okay. I don't know that I believe in soulmates, because I feel like if I believed in soulmates, then I would have to believe I'd only love one person, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't believe that.
Right, yeah. And it's like, if you've been in love, then, like, you've loved that person. That was a real experience that you had. But, like, and then if it just didn't end up working out, like, that's okay, too.
Yeah.
And you just, like, keep going about your life. It doesn't mean that, like, oh, you failed at life because you didn't find the one that you loved or something. No, it's just like, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I think that soulmate sounds like a nice thing, but I don't think that's realistic, because like, you can love different people for completely different reasons and fall in love with them for completely different reasons. And that love can feel and be completely different than the one before, you know? Like, I've been in love twice. I was in love in high school. Like, I dated a guy in high school for like almost a year. We thought we were going to get married.
Would I know him?
Nathan Lauder. You know Zach Lauder?
Both names ring a bell.
Zach, it was in our grade. Nathan was a year older than us, but we dated. It's just funny because the other day I was in my feels and I was like going through my special box and like looking through all these things, sentimental things I had, and I like found the journal that me and Nathan kept, and I was like sending pictures of it to my friend because I was like, look at how we talk to each other. Like, this is crazy. It's like 8 years ago. Yeah, and like, he's married, lives in California, has a son. Like, I haven't spoken to him in years. Yeah. But it's just like so weird. I was like, he wrote like in the journal, like talking about how he wants to like grow old with me and buy a house, and how he wants to like have me videotape our like child like learning how to walk. And I'm like, the crazy part about that is I've seen that in real life. I follow his wife on Instagram and like watched them video their son Moses walking, and I'm like,
so he did it,
something. And he always wanted to. I mean, like, and I'm so happy for him, but it's just crazy to think like that we were planning that whole thing out, and it's with a completely different person, you know? And I mean, he and I are so different. Like, he's a pastor. Like, I mean, if that tells you anything, like, we're just not, we were going two completely different directions. Sure. But yeah, I mean, that was like my first love, and that was like naive love. Like, I feel like your first love, if you have more than one, is like the one where you've not been hurt before and you don't have as many apprehensions. So you're just like, oh, I'm just going to go for it. You just do it. You're just in it. You're like, nothing can scare you. You haven't been burned. And then you get burned, and hopefully not, but I mean, probably the first one doesn't normally last, and then the second one is like, oh, like, I didn't know I could feel like this. Like, I felt like this for the first person, and now I feel this. Like, whoa, what's this? And then in my case, that one also burned me. So we're just, waiting for the third love.
Right. But kind of like what you were saying before is that like you need the bad to make the good that much better. And so it's like, I mean, even like creatively and musically and stuff, like my favorite music is that which is like the most depressing or like the most. Yeah. And so, or
give
like
me a sad song and I'm like, this is the best I've ever heard.
Exactly. That's why Brand New is like one of my favorite bands. But like, I don't know, like I have a hard time writing even like happy songs too. So like, even if it sounds happy, it's like, oh, well, I just got to insert something in there to just like zing something depressing or something. It was like, I'm not a sad person. Right. But it's like, it's just good to experience those feelings.
Different about like, like my friend, she just went through a breakup and it's been really hard for her. And she's my friend who's really Christian. And so she's been listening to a lot of Christian music. And she's like told me like, I don't let myself listen to sad music. Like I can't go there. Like I just can't, I can't be sad. Like she was like having such a hard time that she didn't want to make herself feel worse, you know? But for me, it's completely different. I'm like, no, like when I'm sad, I like feed that shit. I'm like, oh, bask in the sad music. Like I feel like seen, I feel heard. I feel it's like cathartic, you know, to like just feel the feels. And I don't think she wasn't suppressing her feelings by any means, but like she was just like, I know how low I am and I do not want to go lower, you know? And so it's just a different perspective. Cause to me, I'm like sending her these sad songs. I'm like, oh, this relates so much to your situation. And I'm like, oh, I hope she didn't think I'm like just trying to make her sad. Cause I'm not. That's just like how I operate. I'm like, that's what I do. And that's another thing about sad music too, is I think I'm a pretty empathetic person, but like a healthy empathetic, whereas I don't really take on other people's problems, but I can empathize with them, I guess. And like, I'll listen to a song and I'll hear something that's not even my situation. And I'll be like, oh my God. And I immediately get chills all over my body for someone else's situation, thinking about them hearing the song. And then I got to send it to them. I'm like,
I have a lot of songs that I write from, I mean, my first like singer-songwriter album is like entirely hypothetical, like stories.
Really?
I just made up stories.
That's cool.
But like I have songs that are just like other people's stories that I just like put myself in there and wrote a song. And so
I was telling my producer Garrison, he's also my friend. It's kind of funny to just be like my producer.
Right.
But I was telling him, I was like, I think that album 2, Heartspace, I want to be my friend's stories, like just the breakups they've gone through, because I've already started writing songs for them, or like a verse and a chorus, and then I don't write anymore, but it's just like a little small like song for them that I start. And I'm like, I could totally just like collect stories from people and just write about them. Yeah, you know, because for me is like, I think eventually I'll get to the point where I write like hypothetical situations and like kind of become something outside of myself with Heartspace. But like right now it feels like the right thing to do is just be completely like real. Yeah. And like write real situations. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we've been going at this for a while.
Okay. So. Yeah, we have for sure.
Madeline, thank you so much for doing this with me. Where can we find you and your things?
At It's Heartspace on Instagram, or just Heartspace, all lowercase, one word, on Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you want to stream your music. And then if you want to not listen, if you want to look at my photos, you can go to itsmads.photos on Instagram, or itsmadsphotos.com. Yeah, I did that smoother this time, I think.
Sweet. Yeah, definitely check that out. It's good music. It's good photos. Do it. Yeah, so I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Madeline Amaker.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. Bloom is available now, streaming everywhere. Put it on in the background or show it to your friends so you can all enjoy it together. You can also buy it on Bandcamp and get bonus content so you can sit alone in the dark with your headphones on and listen to the album in its entirety while reading and looking at the bonus content. I also make music with Power Cycle, an experimental electronic trio. Our first completely improvised album, Too Many Damn Cables, is streaming everywhere. To support this podcast, leave reviews, comments, tell your friends about it, and buy my music, because by supporting me, you're supporting the podcast. I always end the podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong,